My name is Jessica Turner, and this is the story of the hardest lesson I've ever learned about love, honesty, and the danger of holding on to the past when you've already built a future. I never imagined that one emotional mistake, one meeting driven by nostalgia and confusion, could shake the very foundation of my marriage. I met my husband, Daniel, 7 years ago at a community fundraiser in Austin, Texas. He was charming, kind, and steady, everything I thought I needed after my chaotic breakup with my ex, Ryan. Ryan was my college sweetheart, the kind of guy who made you feel alive but also exhausted. We were too young, too fiery, and too different to make it work back then. When Daniel entered my life, I finally found peace. He was the calm after the storm. We got married 2 years later, bought a modest home, and built a comfortable life together. Daniel worked as a financial advisor, and I taught English at the local high school. Our life wasn't flashy, but it was safe, predictable. And for a long time, I thought that was all I ever wanted. But life has a strange way of testing you when you least expect it. It all started one afternoon in late spring. I was grading essays in the teacher's lounge when I saw a familiar name pop up in my email inbox. It was from Ryan, my ex. The subject line read, "Hey, Jess, long time no see." My heart skipped. At first, I hesitated to open it. Why now, after all these years? But curiosity got the better of me. His message was harmless enough. He said he'd moved back to Austin, recently divorced, and had stumbled across my name in an alumni newsletter. He just wanted to say hi. I should have deleted the email. I should have smiled politely at the screen and moved on. But instead, I replied. It started with small talk. He asked how I'd been, and I told him about my job, my husband, our dog, Max. He mentioned he was working as a graphic designer now and had gone through some tough years. He sounded softer than I remembered. Regretful, maybe, human. Over the next few weeks, we exchanged a few more emails, just casual conversation, nothing deep. But then one message hit differently. He wrote, "I still think about us sometimes. Do you ever wonder what could have been?" That line changed everything. I didn't tell Daniel about the emails. I convinced myself it wasn't a big deal. I told myself I just wanted closure, that if I saw Ryan one last time, I'd realize how far I'd come and finally let go. So I agreed to meet him for coffee. That Saturday morning, I told Daniel I had a school meeting. I hated lying. It was a small, quiet lie, but it burned like acid in my throat. When I walked into the coffee shop, I almost didn't recognize Ryan at first. His hair had a few strands of gray, his eyes were tired, but his smile, that same mischievous grin, brought back years of memories in 1 second. We talked for hours. About life, dreams, regrets. There was no flirting, no touching, just a deep conversation that felt too easy. Too natural. When he said, "I'm really happy you're doing well," his voice cracked a little. And in that moment, I realized something. Part of me had never fully let go of him. I'd buried the past, but I'd never healed from it. When I got home that night, Daniel was cooking dinner. He kissed me on the cheek and asked about the meeting. I smiled and lied again. That night, I couldn't sleep. Guilt kept me awake, but I didn't stop seeing Ryan. We met twice more in public places. We never did anything inappropriate, but emotionally, I was cheating. I shared things with Ryan I hadn't shared with Daniel in months. One evening, Daniel found my phone on the couch while I was in the shower. He wasn't the kind of man who snooped, but that night, my screen lit up with a message from Ryan, "I'm glad we talked today. You'll always mean something to me." When I came out, Daniel was sitting on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, face pale. "Who's Ryan?" he asked. His voice was calm, too calm. My stomach dropped. I tried to explain. I told him it wasn't what he thought, that it was just old feelings resurfacing and that I'd been foolish to respond. But Daniel looked at me with a pain I'll never forget. He didn't yell. He didn't throw things. He just said quietly, "You could have told me." The next few days were the hardest of my life. Daniel barely spoke to me. The silence between us was heavier than any argument. I tried to give him space, but the guilt was unbearable. I had betrayed his trust, even if I hadn't crossed the physical line. Finally, one night, he said, "Jess, I don't know if I can trust you again." Tears streamed down my face. "I'll do whatever it takes," I whispered. "I'll go to therapy. I'll block him. I just need you to know, I love you." I never stopped. He looked at me for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Then prove it." And I did. I deleted Ryan's number, every message, every trace. I started therapy on my own. I told Daniel everything, every detail. Slowly, he began to open up again. We went to counseling together, and for the first time in years, we talked, really talked. Healing didn't happen overnight. Trust, once broken, takes time. But we made it through. Months later, I got one last email from Ryan. He wrote, "I'm sorry. I never meant to cause trouble. Take care of yourself, Jess." I didn't reply. Instead, I looked at Daniel, the man who chose forgiveness over pride, and I knew that my past had finally stayed in the past. Now, years later, when I tell this story, I do it not out of shame, but out of gratitude. Because it taught me something profound. Love isn't about perfection. It's about honesty. It's about choosing your partner even when you falter, and finding the courage to rebuild. If I could go back, I'd choose differently. I'd choose honesty from the start. But in some strange way, that painful chapter helped me become a better wife, a better friend, and a better version of myself. And Daniel, he's still my best friend, my home. We survived the storm, and that's what makes our love real.